job duties. So I'm not sure, if you've read my job duties, okay, well, that's what my job duties are to predict, to pick my commissioners, and I've done so. Okay.
Have you, I guess that's your job and you can place who you want, but have you even considered all candidates before you make one decision, or you don't have to?
No, I don't have to, but no one has given me anything. Mr. Price walked into my office with his letter. I have not received anything from my administrative assistant or anyone. That's the only one I received, the only one.
There was one that came.
Yes, Mr.
and
I don't have it. I
I
don't.
gave it to your secretary.
So one was, you're talking about Mr. Smoot?
Yeah.
Yes, you did, but I had already made the decision. I had already sent the letter and sent the notice to Mr. Price, so that he was too late. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, new business. We don't have any unfinished business. So new business, resolution 2023-21, Community Development Block Grant, CBDG funds. I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Holmes.
Good evening, Supervisor Sims Township Board and residents.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Resolution 2321 is a resolution that requests the transfer of 2024 block grant dollars of the amount of $40,000. It's requesting this transfer, and the money is due, as it's available, I should say, because it was originally slated to do demolition projects. And we have since found from our meeting with the Genesee County Planning Commission that those homes are no longer standing and have been demolished by the Genesee County Land Bank. That in essence, and in agreement with the land bank and the Planning Commission, allows us to transfer these dollars. The only restriction was it had to be transferred to an already approved project. And so in this case, I'm recommending that we transfer these dollars to our code enforcement project to shore up a need for code enforcement in the community. So that's what this would essentially do upon your approval: transfer $40,000 to the 2024 allocation of CDBG dollars, which are not currently available to us. They're approved, but they will not be available until August of 24. But approving them tonight will put that in place for us to begin that project at that particular time.
So I have a question. So the money we're trying to reallocate right now won't be
These are
available to us
projects-
until August of 24?
Yes, so let me clarify that, and I'm glad for that opportunity. This round of CDBG actually started in 2022. The county was behind in projects, so we're just now getting access to $23 that we just got access to August of this year. Those will extend from August the 13th of 23 through August 1st of 2024. At that time, the 24 projects begin at that point of 2024. But we have been approved for this portion of money out of the total 3-year allocation of $277,000 that is approved. But the contract, when I say it's not available to us, we have not been presented the signed contract for these particular funds for this particular year, particular funding period.
That was my only concern, because we know that as of April 1st of 2024, we won't have the funds to pay for them.
We will have some funds.
Some funds.
We will have 23,000. There's $23,320 that's available right now for code enforcement. There's 20 in the 23 funds.
Right.
This would attach 40,000 additional dollars to that to continue to sustain those efforts
After August 1st.
after August 1st. That's correct.
But we're gonna use up to 23,000 on them before April 1st to keep them going from now until then.
Well, I didn't want to mix up agenda items, but if we want to carry this discussion a little further, we have applied to the state of Michigan for $120,000 that we'll get an answer for before the end of this fiscal year. that actually will shore up the availability to fund those positions at April 1 upon the approval of that particular grant. So you are absolutely correct in your reference on the opera dollars, which the code enforcements are currently funded under expiring March 31. But the 23,000 will pick up at that point and hopefully attach to the dollars that are written to the state of Michigan for code enforcement, along with a couple of other projects.
If we got the grant for the code enforcement, would we still need the $40,000? Will the grant cover their salaries?
The grant covers salaries and code enforcement activities, like removal and things of those activities that they do.
And the $40,000. So how many houses was that?
There was
Those
three
estimated,
homes
three
that
homes.
had been approved in that $40,000, and Land Bank has raised those homes.
Is there? I mean, I would think that there's 3 other homes in the township that neighbors might like to see
Those
tore
are
down, or
rules
how
of
does
the,
that
the
rules work?
of CDBG, if those homes were not mentioned during the public
Okay.
meeting, they cannot attach to this project. They have to be an approved project.
Like I say, just let me comment. I think we do need the code enforcers, but they cost $100,000 a year to keep them. $40,000 is about 2 months worth of their salary and gas and the vehicles. You know, we've been beating this up for the last 2 months about, cutting them back or doing something with them. And I don't see where this money is going to come from. We're wishing on a grant that we've already been turned down, different other grants that I guess we need to
I'm
quit
speaking
kicking the
to-
can, I guess.
I understand that, Trustee Wilson, but I'm just speaking to what I know is available right now. This would take it to $63,000 of available money that we would have for those positions.
How
That
much,
was my recommendation.
how much is the grant that you applied for?
$120,000.
So if 120, excuse me, but if 120 covers their salaries and activities that come from code enforcement, that's 3 months roughly of their salaries. Am I correct? 40, I'm trying to do my math without a calculator, but yeah, I think that's like 3 months, which would put us April, May, June into June at the beginning of this next fiscal year.
Right, and that's the heart of the blight. They can
Absolutely.
be out in the summertime doing the blight stuff.
Mhm.
Winter time they can't. Everything's buried under the snow. You don't see it.
I'm just wondering if we've applied for a $120,000 grant, which hopefully we'll get, if maybe this $40,000 wouldn't be used better to try to fund some issues in the police department.
Again, this 40 is restricted to these.
Yeah, it's gotta be-
Well, we have job training for police right here.
Absolutely right, we do, but it would have to be, I'm just saying, have to be one of these 8.
Right,
that we
right.
would go to if you did not.
Could I ask the chief, do you have any training coming up that this might be applied to?
Yeah, we do have training, but I think we've already got some money
Okay.
set in there.
Okay,
I don't think you would need the full amount.
But board members,
maybe we could split it.
board members, we have to look at the code enforcers is very important to the township. If you drive through the township, there's been a lot of cleanup, a lot of things that has been done, and this township does look good. The residents have, have acknowledged the fact that they want them to stay. We need them to be here. I know we say in the wintertime that some of you all feel they don't do anything or they do less work, and which probably does because it is cold, but they are out there. They have to be on call when the road commission call them and say, hey, look, it's a storm. We have cars on the street. Can you get the code enforcers to come knock on the door? Because what we know is that our police officers do not have the time or the manpower to remove the cars and the different things that's on the street. Like right now, we have an incident that happened in the township, dumping. Someone dumped quite a bit of trash. We got a call this morning. Then the road commission came in this morning to notify of the same thing. So we're gonna have a big problem because Flint is very strict now on dumping. They have cameras everywhere. So guess what? They're coming to Mount Morris Township to dump. So these are the things that the code enforcers is gonna have to be on top of. We're gonna have to stay on top of that. And from my understanding from the road commission this morning, Troy said they're gonna be grading that road. So in order for them to do what they need to do, they just gonna have to push all that load of trash to the side. So we have no money right now to get it picked up, pay someone to pick it up. We're trying to watch that money. So we I think the $40,000 when Mr. Holmes and I sat down with the CBDG with Damon them, and they said that they thought that was a good place for us to put it if we needed to continue funding our code enforcers.
Well, I just know we're sorely lacking in money to do what we need to do in public safety, predominantly the police. And I just thought it might be a good idea to split it between the two.
This is, if I may, Supervisor, my concern is this. I have not seen any resident whom we represent come in here and say they don't want code enforcers. All I've ever heard is that they do want code enforcers. And I'm not suggesting that anyone here is saying we don't need them, but my concern is to make sure that the residents are happy with the service that they're getting when it comes to the code enforcers, that they can call someone, that they can come out and get it solved, hopefully as soon as possible. And it takes the code enforcers to do that.
My only concern is that I want code enforcement all year round too, but to me, the math ain't math. It's just like, it don't seem like we have the money to do it. So, that's all my concern. We can do it, but if the money's not there, then what are the other options?
I
So
understand your
we're just trying to
concern.
stretch dollars around.
Right, because we had
We do need code
ARPA's
enforcement.
taking care of it now, and hopefully this grant will take care of it. And I think that maybe we'll have to, if it doesn't, then some decisions have to be made at that point if we don't get that grant. But you said, when would we know by?
We'll know prior to the end of this fiscal year.
So,
So adding the
March or so.
40,000 to the 23 would give us 63,000 to continue, correct?
Yes, during the fiscal year that begins April 1.
which would be half the year.
That begins April 1, and right now until March 31st, the ARPA money's to handle, and
That is correct.
But that's 63 and we need 100.
That is correct.
So we're gonna be short.
We
the
need
ARPA money's
120.
63?
No.
This is
The-
60.
Yeah, yeah.
The combined.
Okay.
So adding the 40 to the 23, we'll have 63,000 community development block grant. I agree with all of your comments, and there is one other piece of this that was shared with us, Supervisor Sims and I, relative to community development block grant, where there's always an opportunity for leftover funds that are not spent in other municipalities to be reallocated. We have put out there to the Planning Commission the need for this activity in Mount Morris Township. On tomorrow night, Damon will be here as we present our 25 projects, and certainly you can follow up with him on that topic as well, but as it relates to reallocated dollars. But they are anticipating some available CDBG dollars in the current year from projects and municipalities that are not completing their projects, which is similar to what happened with our $22, where we were able to do some projects that came in lesser than we anticipated, and we were able to reallocate those dollars. That happens every year with community development block grant money across the county. And so that is something that I have certainly, we have certainly placed ourselves in the line for that request as well. Nothing's planned, nothing's given, nothing guaranteed. And I don't want to be standing before you as the body saying that, but I'm just saying that is also something that I am factoring into the need for this particular activity.
It should be noted also, Supervisor, that our residents need to know that we were reduced by $90,000 this year for block grant monies, and the reasoning is census. People didn't fill out their census. The government thinks there's less people here than really is, and so we need our community leaders when it comes up next that doesn't happen again. That we get out there and we get our people
To fill
filling
out
out
their
the
census.
census exactly.
So board members, what's your pleasure? For the resolution 2023-21 community block grant, CBDG funding,
Transferring of
transferring of the
$40,000.
$40,000 into the code enforcers, to their salary.
So moved.
Oh.
Oh, never mind. She already made a motion. Well, we can still discuss it.
Yeah, because I was gonna call for the question as soon as we get
Who
a
made the motion?
support.
King,
Who supported?
I haven't heard support.
No support.
No
No
support.
I support it.
Okay, questions?
Not
Mr.
really.
Wilson? You had a question?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, let's call for the vote.
Yeah, I just,
Did you get flustered? What happened?
I'm
You
trying to
okay?
think what it was.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, let's call for the vote.
Ms. Sims.
Yes.
Old
What's
age,
up?
I
Yes.
guess.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong.
No,
Ms. King.
Yes.
Mr. Baxter.
Yes.
Motion carried. 5-1.
Mm-hmm. Resolution 2023-22, fiscal year 2023-24, General Appropriation Act amended number 2. Leo, is that you? That's, oh,
I sure
Latrell.
hope
Okay. Okay, go ahead, Latrell.
I actually have a visual that corresponds with this. for the
Okay, go ahead.
residents, if I could put that on.
Whoever put the work together so we can have visuals too, kudos to that individual.
Thank you.
That's very good.
Thank you.
My password, there we go.
Yeah.
I didn't want to see this thing up here and get down with this and try to make this happen. Okay. On the screen is actually the income that corresponds with this resolution that is amendment 2. For sake of this discussion, and I try to put it in a form that everyone can review, the amendment is actually the last column that's in the salmon colored
Mhm.
block, and it's entitled Amendment 2. The need for this amendment is to actually transfer, I should say transfer is not the correct word, but to amend the budget to increase our expenses by $279,628. Those are essentially going towards the general fund to position ourselves for the new liability insurance carrier, which at this point, we don't know what that exact cost is going to be. But I am amending the budget, recommending the budget line item be amended $160,000 to brace ourselves for if we have to make a substantive payout to acquire the new liability insurance. It also adds $52,500 of expenses to the fire fund to cover the purchase of the tornado siren that went at Station 3. It wasn't part of the adopted budget, but because we purchased it later in the year, as well as to shore up some other variances that are there based upon the repairs that was necessary to the fire truck that was damaged, and some other related equipment purchases. So it adds $52,000 to the fire fund. Also adds $35,000 to the police fund for the same reason as the general, for their share of the legal costs that goes along with our legal representation. And the final piece of that $279,000 is a $32,500 increase in the BDA. At the last BDA meeting, that board decided to make an investment on West Pearson Road and improving the lighting that's there. So I've already reached out to Consumers Powers to begin to get the work orders for that project, as the BDA has a desire to add additional lighting along that West Pearson corridor with the hopes of attracting additional economic improvement in that area. So all told, those expenses add up to $279,000, which equates to revenue of $358,962 against expenses of $19,418,729. Those dollars are coming from the fund balance, the surplus that was actually in place from the First Amendment. When we amended the budget in August, we were projecting a surplus at year end of about 1.1 million. This second amendment lowers that to less than $1 million, but it still has the projection that this year will end in a surplus of $940,000 should all of the expenses and income that's projected come to fruition. That's the amendment. That's the-
Board members, what's your pleasure?
Excuse me.
I so move to accept this amendment.
Support.
Questions? Hearing none, we call for the vote.
Myself, yes. Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong,
Yes.
Ms. King,
Yes.
Mr. Baxter,
Yes.
Ms. Sims,
Yes.
motion carried, 6-0.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. We're down to 2024 Mount Morris Township Board meeting schedule. Board members, what's your pleasure to approve our scheduling for 2024?
So moved.
I don't have it in front of me, but there was questions I had about it. There were more, I think I'm of the right schedule anyways. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. October, why are we only having one? I just had questions, not,
Let's get a support on that. We got a motion.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Yes,
Supported.
okay, questions?
now my question is, there's several months in here and I know that December used to be one of them. Now December's not one of them. We want to have a board meeting the 23rd of the month in December and then only one in October, one in May, one in April, one in February. I'm assuming the April is for the training, Ms. Armstrong? That you had
yes.
requested?
That is
Okay,
the
that
MTA
one makes
doc-
sense to me. I was just questioning why the other ones, what's going on that we
I just-
can't have a meeting
I
in
just wanted-
February?
So in February, we only got one meeting as a 12th, but because we have early voting. And we need this area. 9 days extra. We talked about early voting.
Mhm.
So that's in February. And April, we have our conference, MTA.
Yes, that
Okay.
one I remember.
In May, you have Memorial Day.
Okay, makes sense.
Okay. October, same thing. We have early voting. So that's why there's only one meeting in those months.
And when you say there's early voting, why does that interfere with our meeting? I'm not challenging you, I'm
Right, right.
questioning because I
Because
don't
the amount
know.
of traffic in the building we'll be having and everything else be set up.
Thank
This
you,
is all- yeah.
thank you.
Any more questions? Hearing none, we call for the vote.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong,
Yes.
Ms. King,
Yes,
Mr. Baxter.
Yes.
Ms. Sims.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Motion carried.
Okay, we're down to 2024 Mount Morris Township holiday closing schedule for 2024. Need a motion?
Make a motion to accept the 2024 holiday closing schedule.
support.
Any questions? Look like Elmer, you got one?
Is this pretty much the same as last year's?
I think we added
Which-
Juneteenth
Yeah, Juneteenth.
Right.
that we didn't have
Right.
last year, but we do this year.
So that's the only one.
All right.
Okay. No more questions? Call for the vote.
Ms. Armstrong,
Yes.
Ms. King,
Yes,
Mr. Baxter.
Yes.
Ms. Sims.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0.
Okay, police request to send Chief Veach to the FBI Executive Leadership Institute in the amount of $795, Chief.
Good evening.
good evening.
I'm asking for the okay to attend the FBI's Executive Leadership Institute. It's a week-long class up in Bay City, at the end of this month, into December 1st. It's a 4.5-day class, and that money can be paid for out of our CDBG training monies.
I make a motion to approve.
Support.
Questions? Hearing none, we call for the vote.
Ms. King,
Yes,
Mr. Baxter.
Yes.
Ms. Sims.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong.
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0.
You're welcome. Fire Department requests to purchase safety drive cameras using Michigan grant fund, my grant funds.
Got Helena.
Is that Scott?
Yeah.
Okay, come. Good
good
evening.
evening.
What this is I applied for the Michigan Fire Grant. I've been trying to put cameras in the truck for like the last prior chief that we would get this done a year and a half ago, and it's 2 years later. So when we wrote the grant, I talked to Chief Wilson and Chief Moore, and that was part of our thing, to get the driving in our truck. So it'll show the driving activity of the truck. If somebody gets involved in an accident, it will show what they're doing, if they're wearing their seatbelt. We'll be able to set the parameters of the truck. Myself and Chief Wilson and my captain, Cody Bryant, we did I don't know what you call it, a Zoom meeting with Verizon. And then me and my captain did one with another vendor, and they were way out in my field. But with Verizon, the cost for every truck that we have in the township is $69.60 per year. And the first year will be covered by the grant. And thereafter, it'll come out of our, individual budgets, which I think broke it down to like 23 something. I think we figured it out per station,
23 what?
100
Okay.
Yeah, per station.
Per station, okay, not $23.
It'll also, I think, later down the road, once we figure out what's going on with the insurance,
Mhm.
I think when you tell the insurance company that we have drive safety cams, I think it's gonna give us a little benefit. I do know that we have them at work, and we get a heck of a discount.
Yeah, and I would suggest we check on that immediately upon getting them so we can get that
Yes, get
discount,
sure the
because I'm
police
sure.
department, They got them, and I'm sure they get a discount, some type of, cut back or something. Because of the safety cams that they have.
All right, board members, what's your pleasure?
Make a motion to approve.
Support.
Any questions?
I just like to touch base or add to Mr. Hillerman's, on the Zoom meeting that we had. It says if, for instance, a driver answers his phone, it will send a message to us chiefs that this happened. And so we know right then something's going on.
Right.
So it's just,
I can't
A
imagine
safety
that's not
issue.
going to lower our insurance. I can't
Right.
imagine why it wouldn't.
And it'll also send us the video.
Outstanding.
right, of him
Right.
answering the phone or smoking a cigarette or not wearing a seatbelt or, because you're not supposed to be smoking in our vehicles. so-
Busted.
Right.
All right,
Sounds
board
good.
members, what's your pleasure?
We have a motion and a support on the floor.
Call for the vote?
Mr. Baxter?
Yes.
Ms. Sims?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes,
Motion carries 6-0.
thank
You're
you.
welcome. We're down to police contract negotiation team. Board members, I'm asking that we continue to use the same team. It would be myself, the attorney, the clerk, Chief Veach, and the finance director, and I have talked this over also with the attorney, and he feels the same way, that this should be the same team, because we have the finance director, because he would be a part of that. He know where the money is, and he would be able to tell us yay or nay. We have the police chief, we have the clerk, and you have myself. So that is the team that I am proposing for negotiations again.
So would you like to make a motion?
Yes, yes.
I make a motion to
Yes.
accept
Yeah,
that.
we need a motion.
Support.
Okay.
Seems,
questions?
seems to be working, so I don't see why.
Any
So,
questions?
my-
Go ahead.
The only thing is that so we have a negotiating team. We got to put together our thoughts to how we were willing to strategize. We can go in closed session, so that'll be the next step when talking with
Correct,
Gary. So,
correct, correct,
That'll be down the road.
correct. Okay,
Just FYI.
all righty. Any more questions? We call for the vote?
Mr. Baxter?
Yes.
Ms. Sims?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes,
Motion carried 6-0.
Okay, we're down to supervisor's recommendation. Appoint Greg Price to the Planning Commission. Board members, you all have the information for Mr. Price. I have six commissioners. I need 7. And I'm coming again to ask the board to appoint Mr. Price to be my 7th commissioner for the board.
no, I read his letter, but can you, is Mr. Price?
We need a, for the board, yeah,
Okay,
we need a support now.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'll support it.
Okay,
Talk
questions,
about it.
Ms. King?
Yes, what I wanted to know is if we had first of all, is Mr. Price here?
No, he's sending me a
Okay.
text saying that he was gonna be running late.
No worries. I
okay.
just, because I wasn't at the last board meeting, I didn't get to hear his credentials or anything like that? Can someone fill me in quick?
Let's.
I read the letter that he.
No, his
Yeah, I
credentials.
remember he's commented that he didn't have any,
He
but
didn't have any
when,
what?
any background of doing it. But either did I 4 or 5 years ago, Brian Baxter was new, and we learned it. You just did. You,
I did-
you
I did
called
the
me and
same
asked me
thing.
several questions
Right.
different times.
I think my main concern, is he a resident of
Here
Mount
you
Morris
go.
Township?
Oh.
Is he a resident of Mount Morris
Yes,
Township?
he is. He's
Thank
been
you.
one all his life.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, I did see this.
Mhm. Mr. Price is a educated young man, well, gentleman. He has a college degree, and so he has his business. And so I'm asking this board to allow Mr. Price to be appointed as one of my commissioners. So call for the vote.
Ms. Sims,
Yes.
myself, no. Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong,
No,
Ms. King,
Yes?
Mr. Baxter.
No.
Once again, 3-3. So next board meeting, we'll bring it back. (2024) Planning Commission meeting schedule. You all have the schedule, and Shauna is asking for us to approve the commission meeting. Board members, what's your pleasure? To approve the scheduling for the Planning Commission meetings?
I make a motion to accept the schedule that's been submitted for the 2024 Planning Commission meeting.
Support.
Questions?
I had a question. I mean,
Okay.
I'm thinking, so it'll be fine with you have a July 1st date. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I looked at the wrong one. Never mind. So,
Okay.
There was a lot of schedules in this one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, I.
Okay, call for the vote.
Myself, yes. Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong,
yes,
Ms. King,
Yes.
Mr. Baxter.
Yes.
Ms. Sims,
Yes.
motion carries 6-0.
Okay. 2024 Zoning Board of Appeal meeting schedule. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve it.
Support.
Questions? Hearing none, we call for the vote.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong,
yes,
Ms. King,
Yes.
Mr. Baxter.
Yes.
Ms. Sims,
Yes.
myself, yes. Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, assessor request to purchase land value maps in the amount of $875. I'm gonna have Linda to approach so that she can go through these 4 items and we can just take them one by one as we vote.
Okay, so the land value maps, we get done every year. So the company I'm requesting to get the maps printed with, he takes our GIS system and my data and compiles the maps together. And then we post them on the website for residents to view the actual land values. So you actually see a color map with land values are here, you'll have, what the land values are running. And it's just so you're open and transparent, and it's also to help with our audit that we are getting done in 2024.
Board members, what's your pleasure?
make a motion to approve.
Support.
Any more
Question.
questions? Any
Just-
questions?
This is something that's required though,
Yes.
right? Every year.
Mhm.
We do it every.
Let's call for the vote.
Ms. Armstrong,
yes,
Ms. King,
Yes.
Mr. Baxter.
Yes.
Ms. Sims.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
motion carries 6-0.
Assessor request to assessment notice in the amount of $7,059, Linda.
So this is just for the printing of our assessment notices that go out in February. We use KCI, they are usually the lowest price we can get assessment notices printed because they do so many government meetings. So that's why I'm requesting to get 10 different things.
Make a motion to approve.
Support.
Questions? Call for the vote.
Ms. King,
Yes.
Mr. Baxter.
Yes.
Ms. Sims.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong,
yes,
motion carries 6-0.
Assessment request personal property statement notice in the amount of $683.73.
So this is also we're using KCI to print our personal property statements that go out to all the business owners at the end of December for them to report what personal property they have in the township to assess.
Motion to
Need a
Approve.
motion to approve?
Support.
Questions? Hearing none, we call for the vote.
Mr. Baxter.
Yes.
Ms. Sims.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong,
yes,
Ms. King,
Yes.
motion carries 6-0.
Okay, the minutes, I'm sorry, not the minutes, but this is not written properly, so I'm gonna have Linda to explain
Okay, it says assessors request to purchase a replacement deed, but we're not actually purchasing a replacement deed. So the township sold a property more than 23 years ago to Beecher Community Schools. When the title company did a background to sell this property, because Beecher Community Schools didn't like to sell it, they found the original deed from the township to Beecher Community Schools was never registered. So what I'm asking is authorization for the clerk and the supervisor to sign a replacement deed so that Beecher Community Schools can sell this property.
Board members,
Motion to approve.
Support.
questions? Call for the vote?
Mr. Baxter,
Yes.
Ms. Sims.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong,
Yes,
Ms. King,
Yes.
motion carried, 6-0.
Board members, I'm asking that, recommending the approval of Joseph Hampton on the zoning board of appeals. I need another, board member on that. It's only, I think it's 5 and we have 4, and she's asking that we please get another commissioner on that board as well. So board members, what's your pleasure?
Again, I would have the same questions. I know I saw his letter. Is he a resident?
Motion, support.
Motions.
I make a motion.
I thought it was already done. I'm ahead of
Support.
my game.
Now we can talk about
None.
it.
Any
Okay, we have-
questions, Ms. King?
Same question. Is he
Same
from-
question.
is
Well, he
from-
just gave, most of the time they just give you a letter of interest. Sometimes they give you their, the accolades. But from his letter of interest, I did make a call and I think that he would be a good fit.
And he is in Mount Morris Township?
Yes, he is. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Any more questions in reference to Mr. Hampton? If not, we'll call for the vote.
Ms. Sims,
Yes.
myself, yes. Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Armstrong,
yes,
Ms. King,
Yes.
Mr. Baxter,
Yes.
motion carried, 6-0.
Resolution for drain maintenance at, what is it,
Hartshorn.
Hartshorn? Oh, who is that?
That's,
Is that you?
no, that's King. That's King.
Leo? Oh,
Is it? Is it you?
I looked at this quite a while ago. This was the, first of all, we want to pass the resolution for the drain maintenance. It was quite a little education project. I didn't realize that as you go down, and actually Gail and I talked about this, as you go down the length of the drain, people pay more depending on the nature of the property. So the township has a certain percentage. Then the businesses have a higher percentage because all their water runs off because they're cement. And then the yards have a lower percentage because all their water doesn't run off. But the resolution, I did review, it was drafted, and it's what we have to put in our share for the Hartshorn drain.
board members, need a
And
motion?
it should be in here as a resolution.
It's in-
It's in the
Yeah,
box.
it's
It's in there. Yeah, it is.
Thank you for letting me do something.
I so moved.
Support.
Questions? None. She call for the vote?
Yes. Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong,
yes,
Ms. King,
Yes.
Mr. Baxter.
Yes.
Ms. Sims,
Yes.
motion carried, 6-0.
Board members, we're down to extending hours on Sundays for the marijuana dispensary I have down from 9 until 9 because I think they open up at 9 during the weekday. Leo, is that?
I think it's kind of an all-encompassing
See,
request.
Yes, for all of,
The
and
hours, you guys can correct me, I didn't recently read the ordinance, but as I remember, the hours are 8 on Sunday and, go ahead.
10 to 8, Monday through Saturday,
oh,
Okay.
10 to 8.
10 to 4 on Sunday.
So we want to do 10 to 8 is what y'all are asking on Sundays
I'm
as
gonna
well?
make- Yeah.
That's the main concern, but I'm sorry.
No. I'd like to make a motion, making it 9 to 9,
9 to
as a
9.
business owner, and I'll
Yeah.
just take my
Well, that's-
motion, because I see my
That's
clerk-
what I had,
see
9
my
to 9
clerk
as
looking
well.
at me right
There's
now.
a
No.
motion of support.
Support.
All right,
yeah.
that's my motion.
Who's
Okay.
supporting that?
I'll support.
Whatever. You already did.
Okay, now we can finish.
Okay, there we go, Dory.
You know, I guess as a business owner myself, I would not want to be put in the position where my competition was allowed to be open more days or more hours than I am. And I would refer at this moment to the chief, if you have any concerns about them being staying open
I
later.
do not have any concerns whatsoever. We have more issues at liquor stores than we do.
Thank you, sir.
marijuana dispensaries.
Thank you, sir.
I can only think of maybe one incident that we've ever had at one of the dispensaries. But they're all very well taken care of with their own security and everything like that, so I have no issues whatsoever.
So we
you-
saying 9 to 9?
Yeah, it was my
9
motion,
to
yes.
9.
7 days a week.
Yes.
Just
I
like-
have
so I can
seven
amend
days a week.
Yes.
Make it simple for everybody.
Mhm.
9 to 9.
the motion and
We have a motion. We have questions. Let's call for the vote.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong,
Just a comment. I don't have a problem with this and I will vote for it. But Sunday's a very special day to me. That's the Lord's Day. And I really don't like the idea of any of them being open that many hours on Sunday. But if the board decides to do that, I will vote for it. Yes.
Ms. King,
Yes.
okay. Mr. Baxter,
Yes.
Ms. Sam,
Yes.
myself, yes.
Okay, we're down
so I'll make
to,
a text amendment.
go ahead, attorney.
I'll make a text amendment to the licensing ordinance, which should take less time to put the new hours in. That's why we take, because we have to amend the ordinance. Yeah. So I would hope I can do it by next meeting.
So they can't go to them hours until this
Until
is
after.
done.
Because
Right.
because
Right.
we have a licensing ordinance. in
Okay.
addition to the
Just making sure they're
I'll
clear
be
on
quick
that.
about it. I'll be quick about it, trust me. All right.
Alrighty, we're down to Cody Bryan from Station One. Board members, Mr. Bryant, met with me in request to, come to the board and ask the board in reference to, Cody is the young man that had the trailer a while back at the township at Station One. And, there was a lot of issues because it was something that we had no knowledge of, or at least I had no knowledge of that. So unfortunately, I had asked him to move it off the property because we not had any information on it being there. We was thinking that it was using a lot of power from our township station and hall, but we found out there were 3 different items that was connected to that was making the energy go up. But anyway, Cody came and spoke with me again, also Chief Hillerman. So I just told Cody I would like for him to address the board and let the board make the final decision as to what he's requesting from us.
You just made that really easy on me. First and foremost, for the people that did reach out to me, I did not get back to you. Mr. Allen, you're one of them. Mr. Wilson, you're another one of them. I wanted it to be blatant to all you guys, okay? Just everybody at the same time be addressed about it, and the Sims is the only one who knew about it, so it was address it to everybody. As far as you guys all know, Mr. Baxter, you weren't here when it all took place. You were on the board prior when I was in the building when Mr. Green was here. My employer allows me to work remotely from wherever I can work. I took it to my employer a long time ago about bringing my job trailer to the fire department, with the exception that I would be able to run fire calls during the day. That was the big kicker to me, is if I'm here using some of the township's resources, I can pay it back by being here during the day to run fire calls. That went on for years and years and years. And then the Sims took over, had no clue what was going on. Walked in the building one day and went, what in the world is this? I got a phone call. I moved it out of there. No big deal in the story. A year went by, and again, we readdressed it to Ms. Sims. Hey, listen, you were misled by the information you were given. There's some bad blood about what happened. It has nothing to do with what I was doing in the fire department at all. For any of you guys that have walked into that building, you can see what I do during the day. I know a lot of you guys have been over there. When I have downtime at work, I work around that fire station. I completely remodeled the offices, Chief Hillerman's office, the radio room, the kitchen, bathrooms. There's been other people that have helped me, but that was all done primarily during my working hours when I had downtime. So in return for me being there, using some of the township's resources, which are minimal, I run 6 computer monitors and 2 laptop computers. That's all I run out of that trailer. Yes, it sits inside. It saves me the convenience of being outside, especially this time of year with winter coming. I have a generator I can run it on, but I'd have to wait 2 hours in the morning for the thing to get warm before I have to step foot in it. I'd freeze in the morning. So that being said, I asked to bring it back into the building. Can I use it? I can run it off a regular extension cord, a regular outlet. It's just running a couple computers, a couple monitors. Most of you guys are familiar with that. You've all heard the story of how it all went down. So what I'm asking, when me and Ms. Sims and Mr. Hillerman had sat down, let's bring it to you guys so everybody is aware of it. So it's not a mystery when, unfortunately, if things change with the board, it's not a mystery that it's in the building. Nobody can come over there and go, what is this? Let's get it out of here. You guys are all aware of it. And that's what I'm asking, is you allow me to bring it back into the fire station, plug it into the building, use the minimal power. And again, in my return, I run daytime fire calls. You know, there's been times where we've had calls during the day where it's me and one other guy. If I wasn't here, the one other guy can't do it by himself. He would have to call another station. So again, that would cost the township more money. You know, to call out another department. So that's what I'm asking you guys, is to allow me to bring that back into the building and continue to do what I've done for the last 4 or 5 years and run fire calls and serve the residents of the township when I'm able to. Again, I'm not there every day. I do have to go on the road sometimes, but that's all I'm asking, is the opportunity to bring it back and continue to serve the residents.
I have a question.
Sure.
So when this first went down, there was a big uproar. It was brought to the board's attention that there was theft, being that, I don't know if it was you or the previous fire chief, Rick Johnson. So with all that being said and done, all that smoke came, we end up firing
Can I correct you on
the
that?
super chief.
Super chief resigned.
He resigned?
Paperwork says Super chief resigned.
Okay,
Okay, so termination did not happen. He was asked to resign, he resigned.
which is
No.
correct.
Now, I cannot state what else has went. I have no idea what else went down with Mr. Johnson
Right, right.
behind these doors. That's way above me. So that part of it had minimal to do with, I'm sure there was a lot. Mr. Wilson and Mr. Hillerman both took reprimands for the whole trailer deal because they didn't notify Miss Sims either. So it wasn't just one person taking the fall. It was, 3 people that got the fall for it, plus me getting booted out of there. So
Well, to my way of thinking, I didn't have a problem with it in the first place because I happen to know what you've done in that fire station. And if we had hired that done and paid labor, it would far exceed hundreds of thousands of times of what you might have used in electricity.
sure, absolutely.
So, and you didn't bill us. You did it on your own time. So I just don't think it's an issue.
Board members, what's your pleasure?
And
Make a motion.
we already have a motion and
No,
No.
no, we don't have a
Yeah, but we're
motion, but we do
discussing
now.
the-
I'm making a motion that we allow Mr. Bryant to take his trailer back in to Station 1.
Support.
Questions?
no questions.
Now
Other
questions.
questions?
Now, you mentioned that we got wrote up for it. Back in them days, I was the assistant chief of Station 2. And after I asked questions about the super chief being hired and his pay on fire runs, he attacked me. And that's how with the trailer, and he was the super chief. We're supposed to tell him, not running the supervisor, because when we done that, he attacks us. He did attack me. And so if this takes place, I would like to see me and myself and Mr. Hillerman's write-up and our folders be taken out.
That was already a decision that I had already spoke to Scott about, so that was gonna be,
Oops, so we got an attorney question.
okay, go ahead. I
Turn it
have,
in.
had discussed that with them, but I know there's a process, because some write-ups you give them, they could stay in their files for so long, and then you can reconsider of, taking them out, so.
Our policy though.
I don't know
So
what's
my
in our
question is,
policy.
again, being not a workers' comp lawyer, is this a independent contractor working for us? Is workers' comp cover him? Are
That's
we okay
correct.
with the
I was getting there.
union? or-
I'll lay that
I
out
was
for you.
getting that.
They'll have to in the end, go ahead.
Ultimately, number one, my trailer is insured through my company. I am insured through my company. If anything happens where I'm at, even if it be at the township, that is my office. I'm considered at work.
Then the township policy should also reflect that as primary.
Liability side of it.
Can I ask another question?
Sure.
Yeah.
Where else does something like this go on?
I
No,
don't.
I'm not making
honestly-
fun of it, I'm
No,
asking.
I don't honestly know. Typically what we do, so there is others of what I do. I mean, there's like multiples of what I do. Typically with what they do is they pull it into a yard, okay, our facilities. They'll pull it into one of our facilities, park it, plug it in, and we're out in a parking lot somewhere.
And what is your facility? What is your job?
I work for the railroad.
I didn't know that.
Okay, see, I test software. I
Okay.
sit on a computer, I'm a computer nerd. I sit there and test software.
Okay.
Start a
Okay.
computer screen, so I'll get bored and go do something else.
Okay.
But by him being in the station, My understanding is you're there for calls.
And he
Yeah.
does
On some-
respond
on
to
some
day
calls you
calls.
wouldn't otherwise be able to make if you were further away.
Yeah, so
And I,
to give you the rundown, if I was to move my trailer from here, it would go down to Flint. I would no longer be able to respond here today. It'd be a body that's not able to come anymore.
mhm.
You know, just this morning, we had a fire call. I finished up what I was doing at work. I went on the fire call. I came back and I just worked later, just to stay, hey, you know, making up my time at work. So I'm a
Right.
salary employee, so they don't care, you know,
Right.
when I'm there, when I'm not. So-
Well, I want to piggyback off what Treasurer Armstrong said also, is that what our firefighters give back to this community, there's no paying you what you guys are worth. And I'm not even talking about what the work that they do in the buildings, but the community service that you do. And the list goes on and on and on. You're forever giving. And I just think that it's our turn to give now that we have the facts.
But my
About
only
the
concern.
trailer.
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
But my only concern that it sets precedents that when you have one of our firemen coming to work, working for his company and our company using township resources, it just don't, you know, because it was just so much stuff. Then you got fire chiefs that were rolled up and all that stuff going to have to be rolled back because of a situation like this.
No,
unfortunately.
it won't be rolled back. The fire chiefs, when they sat down with me, they know what it's their personal business, so I'm not gonna say, but they know why the write-ups were there. And they know when we talked about this, it wasn't a thing that the write-ups would stay pending on how things continue to move forward with them as fire chiefs.
We had as a board, we're not given the opportunity to make that decision. It was an old board that made that decision. And I think that maybe if given the opportunity to do it over again, we could have brought it to the board and squashed all the ugly that went down.
Behind it, exactly.
This may be our risk
So-
area. We should just make sure there isn't some bizarre.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's the only thing. I think it's fantastic. I just never heard that being done.
Yeah, like I say,
Yeah.
I work remotely, so they give me
Yeah.
the opportunity to go wherever I want to go. I can still perform my job from wherever, so.
That's cool.
Okay,
The
board
only thing
members,
that I have, and I'm sure, I just had to verify the answers. So obviously it's not in the way.
No,
So-
absolutely.
And if it needs to be moved, you have no problem moving it.
No.
So I just want to make
I've
sure.
moved it in the past.
Yeah.
And with us already heating the building to keep the trucks from freezing up, it's not costing us any more heat because the space has got to be heated anyways.
Yeah, like I say, I'm using a minimal.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to get into a situation where years down late is like, oh, I've left it here all along. I'm not moving it. I don't think that's the case. I just verifying, that's all.
Like when the whole thing went down, you know, I was unfortunately on vacation when I got a phone call to move it, so I wasn't here to move it. But as soon as I came back, I moved it. I sat down with the Sims and had a meeting with her that morning. I said, no problem. I'll do it." Chief Beach was there, you know.
Very good.
from that building anyway. No, I had no problem moving. I got it out there.
board members, what's your pleasure? Do we already make
We
a
already
motion?
made a
We just
motion.
need a
I thought I
vote.
made
Call
a
for the
motion,
vote.
but
Yeah, we can
can I
discuss it.
modify that to
Yes, go ahead.
include the insurance, to make sure that we do our homework on on our insurance policy, make sure there's no problem there. And if not, then by all means.
All right, board members, call for the vote.
Ms. Armstrong,
Yes.
Ms. King,
Yes.
Mr. Baxter.
Yes.
Ms. Sims.
Yes.
Myself, no. Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
So the motion is to allow it subject to approval by our risk area, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Cody.
Thank you, sir.
We're down to Finance Director Report, Mr. Holmes.
Good evening again, Supervisor Township Board of Residents. My report is two things. We have started our initial process for the 24-25 budget. Supervisor Sims have sent out a memo to the departments and requests have come in. We have completed largely the general fund review. There's just a couple more that we're waiting, and then police department and I are in discussions and then I also need to follow up with fire. But we have a series of dates that has been published with the objective of having the budget adopted by Monday, February 26th, although I didn't see that notice of board meeting, so I don't know if that's one of the dates there. So that was originally the plan to do budget adoption on Monday, February 6, 2024.
I thought that might be one. Was that one that we weren't having a second
Look at
meeting?
them, Brian.
I think it is because of voting, early voting, if I remember
So,
correctly.
yeah, I wasn't aware, so this that's my. point of
We may
view.
have to
We may need to make
make
some
them-
revisions based on that
the schedule.
information.
Yes, sir.
I wasn't aware of those adjustments, but it is encouraging to see that we did get out of the gates early on getting the budget process going. I did allude to it earlier that there's been $500,000, $500,000 of grants submitted to the Department of Treasury in 3 different applications. The first application we did speak about was the 120 for the 2 code enforcers and their salaries and activities. There was $200,000 request for 40 sets of turnout gear for our fire department, along with $60,000 coverage for the air compressing unit that needs to be replaced at Station 1. And then the final portion of the $180,000 is for 3 patrol cruisers for our police department. There again, we're anticipating the answers on that mid-March, definitely prior to the end of this fiscal year, which is very encouraging as well. On tomorrow, as you all know, at 5 p.m. will be our CDBG public hearing. The public is certainly invited and encouraged to come. It was already mentioned that the allocations, which will be for 25 through 27, is only estimated to be $186,000. That's $97,000 less than what we received in the prior year, or $90,000 less rather than we received in the prior 3-year allocation. And as Trustee King has said, it's largely due to the fact that this allocation is driven by a formula that directly corresponds to the decennial census numbers. So we are hopeful that the residents understand that as the projects are considered, because we do have a considerable less amount of dollars. So thank you for the
Thank
amendment. That shores up the budget, and look forward to
Thank you.
the rest of this year.
Thank you.
And
Yes, sir.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Yes. Huh.
Okay, we're down to public comments. We do 3 minutes for those of you who just came and has not been to a board meeting since. We have 3 minutes. Ma'am, can you stand and take the podium, please, and give us your name and information?
Catherine Oliver, 6114 Neff Road in the Mount Morris Township area. I'd like to say good evening to the board,
Good evening.
Evening.
the residents, our guests. I'm talking on 2 subjects here. One is just about the code enforcers. And the reason I'm bringing that up, again, because the residents, we need our code enforcers. We need them full-time, because I'm the one get the calls when they're doing the dumping. I'm the one they call, because they know I come to the township board regularly. And thank you, Trustee King, for acknowledging the residents. We do care. And we report to our code enforcement that they come promptly. If we have, sometimes they put the trash out before Monday. It may start on a Friday, waiting for next Tuesday or Wednesday. So we have to make sure we don't have unnecessary, yard waste and trash 4 or 5 days before pickup. So we have to stay on top of that. They'll come, they give them a warning, they don't get rid of it, put it back until it's time to put out. They bind them. They bind them to give them a ticket. So that's what we still need them for. I don't know about what happens in you guys' area. I only know about my area. And I'm the one they come to day and night. I don't worry about my telephone numbers all over the township. But I try to address the situation, let them know how the board is in, plus ask them to come to a board meeting, express their own thoughts. But as the residents, and they come to me, I try, and I don't mind doing it because this is something that I know that I was chosen to do. And the other thing is about Mr. Price and the planning commission. Now, you did it 3-3, and the last time 3-3. So is there anyone else you're looking at other than Mr. Price? Anyone else applied for it, or why are we keep saying no when I don't see no other name coming up as a candidate?
There is no one else.
There's no
I get
one
to
else?
choose my commissioners, and I chose Mr. Price. At the time when I chose him, no one, and I mean no one, had came and given me anything.
So
Once I
that's what I'm
chose
just
him,
saying too.
then they
I'm
gave me
thinking
something.
It's been tabled, twice. So give this young man, or who is, I don't know him personally, give him a chance. There's no one else. We need the planning committee. We need our boards to be operating in a full capacity. Give him a try. If it works out, it works out. If it don't, it don't. You always have reason to valid reason if you have to dismiss them for whatever reason, but give them a try. We don't need to keep going over and rehashing the same thing. 3-3 and 3-3 again. And no one else is applying. Whoever applied should be getting the job. And if there's a reason why, let Supervisor Sims know why you don't want Mr. Price. I mean, that's fair. 3-3, 3 don't want you, 3 do want you. So you need to sit down and talk about that. Because like I told you before, we're the residents, we are here for you guys, but you guys got to be here for us as well. So the only way we can do that is we have to express our concern. And you don't have to tell me about the 3 minutes, because if that's the case, if I have to be put out, I'll put my own self. Okay? I have to be-
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Any more public comments? Yes.
Sean Zernhelt, Lighten Up Cannabis Company, right there, off Pier North Boulevard, 4184. I'd like to thank you for your decision. I'd also like to make an announcement. This will be our 4th year of us giving away 1,000 turkeys, absolutely free. For any residents in the area that need a turkey, please let everybody know. It's Lighten Up Cannabis Company, just past Cracker Barrel, right off 75 there. It starts at 10 a.m. this Saturday. Last year, all 1,000 turkeys were gone by 2 o'clock. So show up early.
Great, yes.
They did have a line. I almost went to Pearson Road last year. So keep that in mind if y'all need to make any adjustments there.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it, Warren. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Any more public comments?
Yeah, we had one coming up.
Oh. Ma'am, can you state your name?
Rashonda Williams, 2279, Toby Beth. Last board meeting, I asked about the economic development plan. I also came to supervisor's office, and I was told that it would be talked about and discussed at this board meeting. I didn't hear anything about it, and I don't see anything about it on the agenda. So I would like to have that information at least by Wednesday. 'cause
I can give you the information now. I do have it. There were a couple of things that you brought up as far as our economic development plan. We put a plan together, the community. We had a meeting, as a matter of fact, at the Laird Foster Center. And residents, some of the Block Club sent letters in favor of that. It's over to Kildee's office. And we have yet to hear back from them, and I don't think no one else has. One thing I can say is that Mount Morris Township cannot afford an economic developer, but I was talking to Ms. King, and she was thinking that we actually could be our own economic developer, along with, we have the assessors department, we have like the building department. So we come together as a team. We probably could do that on our own. Also, the other question, ma'am, that you had was in reference to the roads. You stated that there was only one road fixed in the township.
That's the only one I know about that when I came to a meeting was on the agenda, so I don't know if you did anything.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna just make it plain so you understand that there were 21 streets done in Mount Morris Township. 21 and 8 catch basins that was done. As a matter of fact, one was done on Toby Bath just about maybe close to a month ago. So there projects and things that have been done. I'm not sure, where you're getting information. If you could let me know, maybe I can help you to get a better understanding as to what's going on in the township. Also, you stated that, about the businesses. Well, I want you to know that we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18 new businesses under this administration to come into this township.
Other than marijuana.
Yes, ma'am. As a matter of fact, let me just call them out to you. We have 3 solar fields. We have Asphalt Management, Charlie Cheesesteak, Cottage Inn, Dr. Kane, Electric Cuts, Flushing Nail and Spa, Greenleaf Cannabisy, Next Gen Hotel, Jars, Jimmy John's, Johnson and Wood Pasadena Venture, OG Tobacco, Pop Swally Barbecue and Catering, Positive Start Head Start Development, R&R Ready Mix, Sir Charles Hair Design, and Tina Tips and Toes. Those are the businesses that has come. So that should answer the questions that you had for me at the last board meeting. I couldn't answer you at that time, but I did go back and I got my information. And so this is the information that I have for you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I didn't want you to do it at the meeting, that's why I came to your office.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I know I got 3 minutes, but she took.
Okay, no, go ahead. Okay, go. No,
She took
it's
half
fine.
of them.
I took
She
half.
took
Go ahead.
half.
We'll give you 2 minutes. Go ahead.
The other thing is, with the code enforcement, I don't have a problem with it. I don't. I know the winter months, because everything is buried under snow. Like, I don't know what nobody's job description is, I can only know about mine. I just know that if we can cut money in every department, not just the code enforcement, that goes for the township as a whole, to use money to allocate it somewhere else, that will be lovely, if you can. The other thing is, we have a financial director to, if I'm not mistaken, he's here to prepare the township for audits. But you have a whole nother company that helps does that you're paying, and that's the job we're paying him to do. So if you want to take $100,000 to pay another company to do the job that we're already paying him a salary to do, I'm trying to see where that makes it economic. To me, it doesn't, because you could have took that money and you could pay the code enforcement where it's still not coming out of budgets, and you're making promises on, I'm gonna pay you here when I get it, but if I don't get it, then we're gonna have to go back and figure out something. You're kind of putting the cart before the horse when you're dealing with business, and that just don't sound good on the outside. Like I said, I'm not up there, I'm here, but just listening, y'all making plans, y'all paying bills with money you don't have yet. I don't understand that either. So I would like.
I'm gonna have Mr. Holmes to address that because he is our finance director, and Mr. Holmes does do our audit. We prepare for the audit to make sure that we are in compliance with the audit. The audit is a lot. So Mr. Holmes, I'm gonna let you address to why that we have Raymond and some of the other ones come in so that Ms. Williams can get a good understanding as to why how things are ran here at the township.
Ms. Williams and all of the community members, upon my assignment, this township was behind 24 months in this financial position. This township had not been audited in 2 years. I was audited behind 2 years in audit. It was recommended to me by the peers that are in this career that it was not fair for me to assume the responsibility for 2 years of financials for which there was very little knowledge about how they arrived at what they arrived. As such, the state of Michigan gave us supplemental funding, Ms. Williams and others in the community, to pay Raymond. They suggested Raymond, and they also gave us dollars to supplement our tax dollars to right-size us. From that point, this board, Ms. Williams and the community, decided as part of personnel and part of the finance policy to have somewhat of a backup for the finance department. And that's why Raymond was retained. I think I better stop there.
Yes. Well, thank you. That was enough for you to give an understanding as to why we have Raymond to come in to make sure that we are where we need to be, and it has nothing to do. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Because it was a number mentioned about $100,000. That was not $100,000 for the audit. It was a part of the entirety of right-sizing the financial situation in this township. Also went to the auditors and to the auditing firm that provided some review to some very concerning areas of our trial balance. Um,
So thank you. Thank you. Ms. Williams, did you get an understanding of what Mr. Holmes said? Okay, thank you, Mr. Holmes.
You are very welcome.
Thank you. Any more public comments? Do we have any more public comments? Yes, sir.
Jeff Masters, 3358 East Vienna Road. First, I don't need any input, I'm just gonna say what I'm gonna say. First of all, in your guys' handbook, 6.4 section of your handbook, does anybody know what that is? Clearly states that no vehicle that's not a township vehicle is allowed to have fuel of any kind put in the vehicle for a couple reasons. One, in a personal vehicle to take fuel from this township, it's illegal.
Right.
It's untaxed fuel. So I'm curious why I FOIA'd something that's quite interesting, and what it was is why just shy of 500 gallons of fuel was used in the township supervisor's vehicle in the last 12 months. That's an awful lot of fuel. If you do the math and you do the breakdown of that, that's pretty substantial when I already did the miles per gallon for her year, make, and model of her car. Because it's untaxed fuel and you weren't allowed any of that fuel, that needs to be repaid. This board needs to do something. 500 gallons is a lot. She's not entitled to it. She is compensated clearly for her meetings and all of her other compensations through the resolution that was made for the supervisor. That is theft. It doesn't matter how you look at it. Not to mention, we're paying a maintenance man to go out there and put fuel in it. The last time he put fuel in the car, it took him 17 minutes. The time before that, it took him 9 minutes. If you do the math, basically for the year, you're paying the guy just shy of 11 hours to put fuel in somebody else's car. So I think somebody needs to take some action to make something happen with that before it goes to the police department and charges are filed, because that's theft.
That's public comment.
Okay. Any more public comments? Hearing none. We'll move on to attorney report.
We have, like cases that we completed. We're gonna have to amend the judgments because people didn't do what they said they were gonna do. We had to go clean up properties. So we should have liens placed in the next week or two on 3 of them. And one of them was, Carol's next door neighbor, and that's all cleaned up. So that's related to the
Good
code
deal.
enforcement.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And that's it for me.
Okay. Fire chiefs. Let's go, Chief 1. Any reports?
Let's give you an update on the.
To the-
8.5 months
Can you
ago.
step to the,
Just to give you guys an update, to the truck that was damaged on 975 8.5 months ago. We're still in limbo. We're still waiting for parts from Pierce Manufacturing. There's nothing, they've tried everything. They've even tried going to other vendors, trying to get some hinges for doors and some other stuff. So I don't know if there's any way we can put some fuel in the fire to Pierce Manufacturing, but I know there's other departments within Jefferson County, Burton being one of them. He's waiting for a door lock. He's been waiting almost 9.5 months, 8.5 weeks for another part. So that's kind of the update on that truck. And the other thing is,
Can I ask a
back
question
several
about
years
that one,
ago-
Chief? Can I ask a question about that, Chief, if I can? So did the insurance company decide it wasn't a total?
No.
That they're gonna replace it?
100 and some $1,000.
so what's
Okay.
taking so long?
It's the
Parts.
manufacturing getting
Okay.
parts.
Okay.
They don't run, it's not like GM, they don't have a production of parts sitting waiting for somebody. And there's been several crashes throughout the United States. Not just
Right.
one last week down in Tennessee, one in Ohio. Fire trucks are getting smashed into. The other thing is, just to give Mr. Carey an update, several years ago, I think it's every 2 or 3 years, we have our liability insurance guy come through the fire station. He looks at everything. He was in that trailer.
Oh, good.
He walked through it. He's seen everything that happened.
Good.
Cody showed him what he did. I explained to him what he does, and he didn't have a problem with it. Obviously, it didn't come back on our to-do list of things to fix.
Right. So maybe just confirm it again. I appreciate that info.
So,
I
yeah.
wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
Or that he worked at the railroad. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you,
That's
Chief.
all I've got.
Thanks a
Make
lot,
sure we
Chief.
get that information, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Chief 2?
The only thing I have is our Christmas party is coming up in December. I think it was the 9th on a Saturday. So we're gonna probably be having station 1 or 3 covering our area, or who we ever need. It could be Flushing if they're having theirs the same day. We're trying to work it where it's not all on the same night.
Right.
The school, and I'm drawing a blank on Pasadena and Lavelle. It's Academy West or something. Yeah, Greater Heights called me today and invited the fire department, fire service, and probably the police department too, this Friday from 6 to 8 to feed us turkey and everything else for thanking us. And I thanked them. I told them I was going to be up trying to take care of Bambi. But I did send it out to all 3 stations, invited all 3 stations who can show up there, imagine with their spouse, and they're going to feed them turkey and
Nice.
whatever else.
Very nice.
The generator at my station is pretty much all the underground work is done. The wiring and stuff, they're waiting for the 3-phase switch panel. When the power goes out, it automatically switches over to the generator. That's on back order. It should be hopefully any time. Other than that, the kitchen is about half done. All the cupboards are in,
Looks
and
good,
it's
too.
looking good.
It does look a lot better.
Other than that, that's all I have.
Station 3 is Jason.
Hello, board. How are you?
Hi, Chief.
First and foremost, I want to say thank you for allowing Mr. Bryant to be back where he was. He's not only a blessing to Station 1, but he has been over to my station doing work. And since I didn't have manpower, he was able to run my calls. So not only is he giving back to the Station 1 district, if for some reason I don't have the manpower available, he has my blessing because he's an officer to answer up on my calls and take care of it. It's the best interest of the residents of the township. And the best thing for them. I also want to inform and maybe educate the public that there is no burning of leaves in Mount Morris Township. It's become a nuisance right now. We're running a lot of calls. So I'm asking maybe next year, maybe put an article in the Herald, put it on the website that there's no leaf burning in the township. As of Saturday, I think we ran 6 calls, just open burners of leaves. That smoke is very toxic. You wouldn't think it is, but it's very toxic. So breathing that in can give you any type of respiratory failure or anything. So I just want to make that clear. Also, we're going to be doing our annual Thanksgiving Day, giving back to the community. We're going down to the North End Soup Kitchen and providing food for the families, preparing it, and giving back to the homeless and less fortunate. I had several people last year ask how they can do it. We're going to be meeting at my station at 8:00 a.m. If you want to come down, come over. I'll have donuts, coffee, then we'll truck down here. Have fun. That's all I have.
What day was that?
What day?
Thanksgiving
morning.
Thanksgiving morning, okay. Station, oh, that's it.
That's it.
Okay, almost done. Police chief.
Yep, most of you on the board already know, but we had one of our officers that was badly injured a couple weeks ago in a motorcycle accident while he was off duty. Officer Lujan, he's only been with the department less than a year now. We put him through the academy earlier this year. He's done a great job so far. He completed all of his training and he's been out on the road by himself probably about a month and a half prior to this accident. He was down in Oakland County, crashed his motorcycle. He was rushed to the hospital, suffered some severe injuries. He was just released from the hospital and he was sent to a facility where he can now do physical therapy. So he's going to be doing physical therapy for quite a while. And because of that, some of the officers in the department decided they wanted to do a fundraiser for him. So this Sunday, November 19th, at the Eagles Club on Clisle Road, there just south of Mount Morris, we'll be doing a benefit for Nick. It starts at 4:00 in the afternoon, and it'll go to probably however late they close. But it's going to be a cornhole tournament, so if you want to play cornhole, come on and play. We'll also have a lot of prizes to raffle off. It'll be 50-50, all kinds of things to do. So we look forward to a big turnout. Nick is also in the U.S. Army Reserves, so I expect a lot of individuals from the military to be there. He was a 10-year veteran of the military with multiple deployments overseas, so I expect a lot of military individuals there, as well as police from across the county. So if you can make it, we appreciate it. If not, that's okay. We understand.
Donate. Donate.
But, we expect a good turnout and, hopefully we can get back to him and help him out in the best way we can. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're down to board comments. I'm gonna go first. We have leaks in our roof. We paid over $52,000 to have our roof repaired. These was Mr. Bill Woodell and Mr. Allen went through the township and they put the bids out. They hired the individuals to put the leak. I've spoken to Mr. Allen several times in reference to the leaks that we're getting.
Thank you.
And we're steady coming up with new leaks. So what I did was had Mr. Gilmore to go through and change all of the tile that's in the roof. And the real bad spot is, of course, the one that we mainly got the roof repaired for was in that corner as you go into the police department. That's a really bad spot and it's still leaking there really, really bad. Also, when if you guys know, maybe a few days ago, we had a big rainfall. So it's leaking on the clerk and treasurer side in the bathroom. It's leaking in the men's bathroom in the foyer out front. And there's a new leak when you come in if you're coming into my office to the left while our pitches are, there's another leak. We have to get this fixed. I've talked to both of them numerous of times about this here. We have a warranty, board members, sometimes cheap is not always the best, but we have to get this fixed because otherwise it's going to continue leaking. It's going to ruin what we have. I don't know how many more leaks we'll find, but I would like for this board to direct the building inspector, Mr. Allen, to call these people back out and say, hey, look, we're getting leaks everywhere. And these are new tiles we just put up, and these are more leaks. You guys got to get up there and figure out where these leaks are.
I make a recommendation that our township attorney sends a letter to the company and say, hey, we have a leak problem that we paid to have fixed. We want it fixed.
You good with
What
that?
is our
Also,
warranty
so-
state?
I'm sorry.
What is our warranty state?
Yeah, where's the
What-
warranty?
I have referred it over to, and not to just pass the buck, but the company I was being made is that I knew this company. I didn't know this company as them winning the bid. Once they won the bid, we presented it to the board, and the board itself picked them as a choice.
Mhm.
Right.
So when we've been having these, I just want to make sure that's clear because I don't know what to do fire to pass this. But so when we have these leaks, every time I get a call from the supervisor's office, I get a hold of the building inspector and he goes out because that's what he do as a clerk. I don't do rough jobs. and
You
stuff.
don't?
No.
Okay.
No. So whatsoever. So and it's in his hands. I know the last conversation we had was about a week ago. Ms. Sims called me and I talked to John Woodell about it, and he stated that they had that I don't know if it's storm in Davidson. Remember, it tore up all of those car lots, over 300 some vehicles and
The hail?
houses.
Is that
So
the one
that's
thing? Yeah.
that's where all our companies in Genesee County is still dealing with the houses and all the damage that is still doing out there in Davidson. So he's behind. He's fully aware of what we're trying to get done. But he said mid-November, so I expect him to be coming, if not next week, in the early week in December, because he has job after job. Once he finish one after that. But as far as that, that's all I can do. If that doesn't get fixed, I suggest that we do something to get it done. But that's all I know about the situation that comes before with the roof cover.
So I'm going to go along with Elmer if he don't come.
But he has always came. He always came by. Ain't that right, what, John?
He's always come by.
But always coming by and fixing the leaks is two different things. So
Most of the leaks that he had fixed wasn't part of
Part
his.
of the problem is where the building is in the front, where the main leak is that I keep getting complaints about by the elevator. There's flashing on top of that separation of that wall. That's where he was not hired to deal with that flashing. That's where the problem is. It needs to be taken apart to see where that water's coming in underneath that flashing is why it's leaking primarily in that corner.
And he's stated that numerous times now. If you pay him or we allow him to go in to fix some old fascia that's been there for 30 plus years, he might be able to salvage it. So you might have to get it replaced as a whole. So, and I relayed that message to the roof company to say, hey, man, you just gotta do whatever you gotta do to fix the problem at this point, because they're popping up all over the place.
Right.
And, we just want resolution, so, but John is all over it, so last I checked, so.
Because that wall, it's getting worse. It's getting worse and it's really, really bad. And we need to get a handle on that before it just gets out of control. So we'll give him an opportunity to, I beg your pardon, Chief?
And that was leaking in the front office of the police department as well.
It
so
is.
It did damage some drywall in the front office.
Okay.
And
So see, it's just all over the place. So we have to, got to get this taken care of.
Get a fresh spot right there.
What about?
The second tile this way.
Oh, I see it, the little bitty
Yeah.
one. Okay. So, all righty. So Mr. Woodell, and we'll give him an opportunity to come out. He say mid-November or whenever.
That's
to
this
get-
week.
That's this week.
November or later, because he's trying to get caught up with all the roof jobs.
But
He said
we
all
have,
the roofing companies are over in Davis.
That's right.
well, we have been calling him for some months now. So, okay, we'll see, but that needs to be taken care
So
of.
do
Thank-
we do the suggestion of
El-
clerk and have-
Elmer,
or Elmer,
yes, I
excuse
think
me,
we
and
should.
have the attorney send a letter?
Send a
At
letter
least
out.
get something from him, so if he's
In
busy
writing.
in Davison, that our warranty is gonna be stretched out farther, because water is gonna cause mold.
Yes,
It's gonna cause damage to the walls. So
That's
now if
right.
he comes out and fixes a
Insulation.
leak,
Well,
who's
that-
gonna
right.
fix the wall that he neglected to fix?
And then those other spots that we have, we don't know
Right.
what's going on there. So Leo, we can get you to send a letter.
I'll
to
get
him.
the skinny from John and we'll go
Okay.
from there. Is that right, John? Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, sure.
So that's it. Ms. King?
Well, I have notes, so I don't forget. Okay. I wanted to say the last time I was not at the meeting, I was on vacation. I don't apologize for being on vacation, but I apologize for not being here. So I just wanted to say that in my absence, the committees for the personnel and the finance were dissolved and then put into a meeting of the whole for the board. I wanted the board to know that I agree with that I believe that all of us as a whole will be better off that way. Secondhand news doesn't get twisted or even misinterpreted. With that said, I would like to still have a standing meeting the second Monday of each month at 10 a.m. so that we know as a board we need to come together. It gives us enough time that we can talk about the finance from the month before. We'll be halfway into the present month and be able to look at either end in the past and in the future for our finance. And to let you know, I agree. Good job. I wasn't here to vote, but I would have voted yes with you.
So if I'm clear, we dissolved the meetings.
We know we dissolved.
What is all the committee?
We
We
dissolved
dissolved
the committee.
You dissolved the committees.
So you still want to still have them as if
Not-
they were doing.
I want to do a meeting of the whole the second Monday of each month
Okay.
for
So we can know
It
what
will
our
have to be-
finances are.
It will have to be as like any other meeting
Yes.
posted.
At 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it'd have to be posted,
Yes.
and if we do that going in, saying we're gonna stick with that same day, we're kind of used to it, as far as the clerk's
Let's do
department
it
and
as a
treasurer's
motion
department.
so we can have
I
it for
mean,
matter
they
of
are
record.
already there records, so if you want to call them, we just post it as a special meeting anyway.
Say again?
I said we could just call a special meeting whenever you need it.
I don't think it should be a special meeting. That should be a standing
Standing.
meeting.
That's
That's
why
what
I
I
say we need
think.
to-
That's my personal opinion.
We
It
need
should
to
be a
make it matter
standing
of
meeting
records.
so that it doesn't get away from us that it's a special meeting. And that way, even the residents know the second Monday of each month, we're going to have a finance committee meeting. Not committee, excuse me, let me back up. A meeting of the whole board.
So,
That
I-
would be my motion.
okay, support.
No discussion. Do we really have that much finance stuff, Mr. Holmes, that we need to discuss? Because we had talked about it. Theoretically, you presenting the second meeting of each month. Would that work better? Because when you have that discussion about
With-
meetings.
With the latest discussions that have been coming up in different pockets, I think what Trustee King is suggesting will help, will definitely help. There's a lot of silo things that I'm getting drawn into and having to give answers, that the answer that I'm giving when I hear back is not the answer that I gave there. So I believe that it would facilitate better discussion and more clear direction for this municipality doing that. It won't always be just financial stuff. If I understand what she's saying,
Right.
that committee will allow everything to be discussed. discuss.
It just have to
Personnel.
be, whatever's posted, it has to be, if you're talking to
I
finance.
mean, it'd be agenda
Yeah.
item, yeah, it'd be agenda item. Finance could be, absolutely, I have something to tell you every meeting, I will, yes, I'll have something to tell you. But I just was understanding the motion to be all inclusive,
Mhm.
that it'll be whatever the issue of that day, to discuss at a committee of the whole.
Pertaining to finances, is that right?
Pertaining to finance and personnel, because I believe that was a part of the reason personnel was absorbed into this committee.
Well, no, I think what,
Can't
in
speak to
reference to
that.
personnel, we have the, individual that's coming in to do the personnel policies and work on all of that. So technically, we shouldn't need a personnel committee of the whole anymore, as long as we follow those policies and procedures that they're presenting to us.
Correct.
So, yeah.
So I guess that's your question directly, clerk. I would prefer that if that
Okay.
motion could carry. I believe we'll find that time.
Okay.
Let's be sure
Sure.
we get everything in the motion, that it is a special standard meeting,
No.
the second month.
It's just
We
a
ha-
committee meeting.
it's
We
just-
have to say a special, because
Sure.
we have board meetings, and we have special meetings. Those are the designations.
Special standing meetings, if you
Yes,
will.
yes, that-
Okay,
it has
yes,
to say
ma'am.
that.
Yes, ma'am, I understand what you're saying.
Second Monday, 10 a.m.,
Yes,
and it will be posted,
Mhm.
so that it's open to the public.
Okay.
yes.
So you all got that? Let's call for the vote.
We got a motion support? I gotta get that
She made the motion, I
Motion
supported it.
supports them.
Support it?
Mhm.
Okay. I'll make sure. Ms. King,
Yes.
Mr. Baxter.
Yes.
Ms. Sims.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong.
Yes,
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, board. I appreciate that. I'm not quite finished, if I may continue.
Go.
I have like in big letters on my paper, economic development, economic development, economic development. We are struggling with our budget and have been. Our tax base is down and we need to increase it. And the number one way to do that is through economic development. And so I would like, moving forward, some of those discussions on Monday be just about that, how we move forward in bringing new business and new housing into our community to raise our tax base. Then we can do more for our community. If we have more taxes between us really taking the census next time, so we don't lose those monies, and then raising our tax base, then we will have more money to work with to make our community a better place to live for our families. That was just a comment. Now the next one, let me see. I just wanted to mention too, I'm not sure which resident mentioned it, but we were talking about the board should take a cut too. I just wanted to make sure that the residents were aware the trustees did take a cut before we even got here. We took, I believe, a 10% cut, 10% cut in our pay that we have not gotten back. I don't want it thought that we're not trying to, first of all, we get a stipend. We're not, none of us retiring on this stuff, as far as the trustees go. Okay. And that's why most of us have other jobs, 2 or 3 or 4 of them. Okay. So that we can do what we need to do. But I just want you to be aware that we have made a sacrifice as far as our salaries go, and we'll continue to do. I know that not only myself, but everybody on this board gives back in more than one way, as far as like donations and supporting our community, and we will continue to do so. The other thing I just wanted to say is that I do appreciate the community coming out and letting us know what is important to you and what you think is BS. We do work for you. We're residents also, so we live here, but we need to hear from you, good, bad, or indifferent. And that's where I take my thinking on the code enforcers, is because I've yet to hear someone come in and say we don't need them from out here. What I've heard is that we need them and we need them full time. Until I hear differently, that will be my position because I represent the people of this township. Thank you, Supervisor.
Mr. Baxter?
Yes, thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank, as Chief Beach mentioned, that the officer is a veteran. Thank you for all the veterans. The Veterans Day just passed last Saturday. So I'd like to thank any of them in here, anybody in here that's a veteran. Thank you very much. Second is on October 24th, Beecher and Hamady Volleyball had a senior night, and their slogan was "A community divided becomes a community united." So I was able to go to that. I didn't get to stay for the varsity game. I've never been to volleyball. had other plans. I didn't know there's 20-minute warm up when
Right.
the other one stops. So I was like, I gotta go somewhere. So I was hoping to stay, but it was really nice. I mean, because of the issue that happened, during the football homecoming game, and then to be able to come together and, and that's true. I mean, it applies to everything. If we're divided, we're gonna fall, and if we unite, we can, achieve things. So that was nice to go to that. Also, the marijuana issues and the hours. I mean, when we drew up that plan years ago, we didn't know what it was going to be like. Didn't know how long, what issues we're going to have, and like the chief said, that there's more problems at liquor stores than there are at the dispensaries. So I don't really necessarily have a problem with extending the hours. I mean, that years ago when that happened, and I mean, there hasn't been any issues that I know of any dispensary. And other than that, I hope everybody has a good Thanksgiving and good travels and enjoy family time.
Ms. Armstrong?
Yes, we are working on getting winter taxes out. We're shooting to get them to the printer next Monday. So I need a vote from the board to use Commercial Graphics. I called him 3 times to get a quote. He's already doing taxes for other municipalities. He's engaged in so many things. But I would like to ask the board to okay what I spent for the summer tax, which was $5,877. That included the printing and the mailing. The postage was $3,700. That's the most of it. So $5,877 would send out our taxes, and they will do the printing, the folding, the tabbing, and the mailing. So we're hoping to get that to them next Monday. If I can get a motion in support for that.
Board members, what's your
So
pleasure?
moved.
Support.
Questions? Hearing none, we call for the vote.
Mr. Baxter,
Yes.
Ms. Sims,
Yes.
myself, yes, Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Armstrong,
Yes,
Ms. King.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
What's the price again, Gal, for the mail?
$5,877
Okay.
is what we paid for summer.
Okay. And so you're thinking it's gonna be the
It's gonna be
same?
around the same.
Anything else?
Anything else?
No,
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Mr. Wilson?
I have a couple things. Well, one was the roof. Because then when I was taking my coat off, I noticed a stain back here, and we just had the new ceiling tiles put in. But the supervisor took care of that. Code enforcement. And I agree, we need code enforcement. But when we only have $63,000 to take us into 2024, and it costs us $100,000 to have them, if we don't cut back this winter when things are covered in snow, we're not going to have them come summertime because we're not going to be able to afford them. So I'd rather kind of cut them back to the winter months when everything's under snow and stretch it out so we can have them at least through the summer months until we can come up with this, hopefully, grant or whatever we're going to end up with. Because we're not going to have enough money if we keep them full force through the winter months, not doing half of what they should be doing. Other than that, I sent everybody an email over the weekend when I was going through my phone in my deer blind. I'm sorry for the email, but when things are brought up to our attorney, labor attorney, over somebody not doing what they were asked, and it's sent to our attorney by email, and then he turns around and sends it back, this question, well, it was just a misunderstanding. It wasn't really nothing. That's $380 each way. We need to stop playing the game. When a department head asks somebody, hey, we need to do this to make this township go forward, it shouldn't go to the damn attorney for $380. Plain simple. Do your job. You're getting paid for it, and do what you need to do. That's the only way this township's going to go, because sending them $700 for that little bit of question, either way, is $700 out of our budget.
Nonsense.
And it's stupid.
And since you're talking about the attorney,
That's a
Mr.
labor
Wilson.
attorney.
Right.
Not
I
you.
said labor attorney.
Labor attorney.
But Mr. Wilson, since you brought it up, just before this board meeting, I received an email from Gary, and he was notifying us that there were error made on their part for the billing that we got. So it was an error. It was on their part. It was supposed to be a 15% discount. So this billing, he notified me and he said that we don't have a bid, 0. Okay, so it's 0. It was an error on their part.
And the credit next.
And a credit next one. So
So it went from 20,000 to 0?
No, it went from $20 or $3,000.
to 3,000,
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So, yes.
But still,
and he,
Maybe it's
still,
free, I'll
you know,
take it.
I'll do
Yeah.
the three.
that's just
because
nonsense.
what we got to remember is that he's our labor attorney. He's new. So there are some questions he's gonna need to ask us. And he does. And I noticed on this here was a lot of like to the attorney Tokyo Marine. It's just a lot of, because he always put his narrative into what he calls for. So
Right,
there
but
are some
But
questions.
what I'm talking about, there was a question asked to an employee that I need this stuff to better do my job as a treasurer, to know what's going on with our public housing, the water bills, everything else. And it was a big misunderstanding or whatever happened, and it went to the lawyer, then it was sent back. That's $700.
I think the sentence that stuck in my mind, Mr. Wilson, was, we've never done that like that before. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter what
But
was
we're
done in the
moving forward now.
past.
There's a lot of things back to
Exactly.
8 years ago that we didn't do.
Exactly.
We didn't have flip phone, or that's all we had is flip phones. Now we
Right.
have computer phones.
Right. Exactly.
Time changes. Do your job if you're asked to do it.
Thank you.
Well, but we got to remember also that when staff, say what's going on and things that's going on, I always make sure that the body knows what's going on. And and I think that's the email you're talking about. So I just notified the
Right.
body and I just CC'd him. He didn't have to respond, but as our personnel attorney, in case that there was something he wanted to say, but I guess he did have
Well, I
something
guess
to say.
I bet you get a bill for it too. And it's
No,
just,
it's
it's
gonna
just
be zero.
nonsense.
It's
It's just
gonna be zero.
nonsense.
So-
Mr. Wilson did bring up something about, just a moment about when we need to know about that insurance going forward.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Where are we with
that
the
insurance and new
For
new
December the
companies,
31st,
any
yeah.
bids? Because
You
we're
talking
coming
about
up.
with the liability insurance that
Yes.
dropped?
Yeah,
Well,
yes.
That's on our broker. I got to reach out and see what's going on. It's nothing that we do. It's something that he physically do. Our broker have different products that we buy from them. And that was just one of the liability insurance. So we should be good. I reach
No,
out.
are we on the right page? Because when you say liability, which liability are you talking about?
That was dropped.
Yes,
Township.
yes, that's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
So he hasn't got
So
back.
is
We
he
have till
aware that we
December
have until December
31st.
31st?
But yeah, it came from him. Yeah, he knows everything that we know. He found it the same day we did, same time. So he's out looking for different liability companies to serve us.
That
at the
would
best
serve
rate,
it.
at the very
Okay.
rate. Yeah.
And we haven't received any, we don't
We
know
haven't
any
received nothing, no.
companies, we don't know any,
Not
but
yet.
you anticipate that we will
Yes, for sure.
Maybe by the next.
by the next
I
meeting?
can't
maybe?
say it's on his schedule. Now, I don't want to get locked into that.
We need to knock on his door because we have the 31st of
It's never-
December.
It's coming
We
quick.
only have one more
Yeah,
meeting.
we don't.
Right.
It ain't nothing that it'll still run smooth. We'll be fine. I've never seen, and that's one of the questions I asked him, is that have anyone without.
Toss up a penny
Yeah,
and hopefully it
liability
lands on
insurance.
heads
He
up.
said no. So even though you might get the same rates like anything else, or your rate's going to go up based on everything we done sent them.
Right.
So will we
But
be
our
canceled?
CFO needs to know about that rate increase
When
because
I
he
know,
has to
you
put,
know.
right, he
That's
has
the
to
same
give,
thing, you know.
exactly.
So
All I'm
it's
saying
not-
is that we need to have some kind of timing on it or get a fire underneath a tail or whatever we got to do
I thought about it, find out what's
to
up.
make sure that we can get it
Yeah,
properly
yeah.
noted in the finance.
Hopefully it amounts to the same what we're paying.
So I guess my question
Yep.
is, if we don't have any insurance, you saying that, what are you
We
saying?
will have insurance after January 1st.
We will.
We will. I don't see why
You
not.
can guarantee that?
I
I
can't.
can't,
get
I
another
can't
one.
believe that any broker would allow
No,
us
any-
to
any
lapse. with
municipality.
But
that.
it's been how
That's not the
long?
way they
It's been-
operate.
It's been a minute though.
No, not that long.
It's been a
Received it.
minute.
It's another 30 days.
That's-
Okay.
I
Okay.
mean, you're still shopping around now, so you gotta
Okay.
realize you gotta give time, people. And you're sending out everything that you need.
So I think I might have been a little bit misinformed or misunderstood so it's a broker that's doing this work for us, this leg work
Yeah, we
for
don't
us.
actually call, hey, you got insurance
Okay.
now.
Okay, I
We
got
too many
you.
moving objects around.
All right.
Mr. Johnson, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good deal. Thank
Okay.
you.
All
John
righty.
Johnson.
Mr. Allen, I think it's your turn. Oh, are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Mr. Allen.
Okay, so good news, the security grant reimbursement came in. The 16.5, that the security grant came in. So we're excited about that. So I know a lot of questions came. We kept asking where it's at, where is that. So and like I had said before during I think last meeting, is that we had got an email from the state requesting our banking information. So that's always a good sign for direct deposit. So
Right.
it did hit our account. So
Good deal.
16.5. So that's there.
And that's what you bought the
I thought it was
computers
a
or
little
something
bit-
with.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was prior to those.
Right.
we had some things down here, some of those fireproof cabinets and all that stuff. And those combs and stuff like that we did at the precincts, the last election. We paid for staff, security, and some officers that worked. So it was a lot of things that they gave a checklist that we paid, and we got reimbursed out of our clerk's
So did it
budget.
come in a little higher? Because what was the
No, it was
14,000?
16,500.
Okay, I thought it was 14.
They gave us what we had, what they said they would. Also, we gotta mark your calendars. This coming November 20th is a Monday, at 5:30. We want to meet as a whole to discuss that code enforcement issue that Elmer made a motion
Mhm.
about that. We need to talk before we come to that last meeting, which is the 27th, a week
Right.
later.
Okay.
So
Discuss
next Monday at 5.
Yes,
Mhm.
the 20th.
5:30.
At 5:30. As a whole, we'd be meeting, talking about the code enforcement issue. And I know things have been said about the code enforcement. I like the code enforcement. I support code enforcement, but at the end of the day, we just got to be able to stretch it. We don't, as we sit here today, there's not enough money to extend past March 31st. So the reason why it was brought forward months ago with me was trying to have a resolution to extend it, the lifeline of them, going into the summer months in which we do need them. So I just want to make that clear because some people say, "Oh, you don't care for code enforcement?" Yeah, I do. We just got to be able to pay for it.
But we do have half though. I want to clarify. Am I
A little bit more
misunderstanding?
than half. Than
A little bit more.
where
We have
started from.
63.
It's getting better every
Okay,
time we
we're
talk.
moving in the right
And money
direction.
is being,
Right.
and grants are being applied for. But when we first discussed it, it was only 23,000.
Right.
That's right.
That is
That
true.
was the
That's
real
right.
number I got 3 months ago.
That
I'm
is
like,
true.
hold on, that
But
ain't gonna pay no bill. That's
Can-
like
Right.
Can
short
I touch
78,000.
bases by that? Dora, you wasn't here last board meeting.
Mhm.
It was discussed and I asked some questions and it was answered that the previous board supervisor did not put this in the CBG money to cover code enforcement, knowing that it would take 3 years into our term to come to the head. That's where this money disappeared because it was never put in there because it was voted on afterwards of the election and now it's slapping us in the
We
face.
were on that board, but if you
Right.
remember at that time, we didn't have 2 full-time.
No,
No.
no,
No, that's right. That's
but it wasn't put in the CBG money
At all.
at all.
It wasn't for-
So now we're trying to make up because it wasn't put in there.
And so when we meet with them on tomorrow, that is going to be one of the
Right.
gonna be
That's gonna be the first thing on the
first
list.
thing that's on the list, and that was a recommendation from the grant from CBDG. Okay.
And last but not
I'm
least,
sorry, we didn't
let me
took up your
finish my
time. Go ahead.
That's so rude.
You can have
Yeah,
half
we
mine.
were.
No, I like to thank everybody for coming out and happy Thanksgiving for everybody.
Okay.
Is it Thanksgiving already?
If
It'll be
I
about time
might
we come around.
piggyback on
Next
the
week.
code enforcements, we also made a motion at this board to look into cutting in every department.
Right.
We have not done
We
that.
did. We have not. I haven't seen any final
We're
numbers.
going to have to make some cuts if we're going to satisfy the labor unions.
And you did, one of your cashiers are part-time.
Yes,
You know, that saved us $30,000. We
No.
have to do it.
it actually served
You
us
know.
about 38.
Yeah.
Mr. Wilson.
I do have one more thing. I was looking through my little notes. Mr. Price, you know, he's got some education and everything else. You know, we can't get him passed. Like I said, you know, I started the planning commission. I didn't know nothing. I read the book that's probably 4 inches thick. Dora has, Mr. Baxter has. That's for planning. Well, this Joseph Hampton for zoning. I don't know him no better than Mr. Price by maybe sitting in here and seeing him. And we voted him as zoning board with no problem. What's the difference
Well,
between the two?
The reason I voted for him, I spoke to Mr. Lyles, who knows him very well, and I took it at Mr. Lyles' recommendation.
You're talking about
because-
Mr. Hampton?
I
Okay.
called
Yeah.
Mr. Lyles and stated to him that I'm looking for a ZBA.
Right.
So,
Two different.
but no, it's not two different things because I know Mr. Price, well educated, very smart gentleman. The commissioners I recommend, but we'll just save it for the next board meeting when we have a full board. I'll just leave it there. Okay.
Okay.
So happy Thanksgiving to everybody
Yes.
and enjoy. Don't eat too much turkey because it makes you sleepy.
We got a meet
And-
again, don't we?
Well,
Before
we
Yeah,
have
the
one
20th.
tomorrow.
No, I mean.
We got one
another
tomorrow,
one.
too.
Yeah,
We have,
it's
yeah, we have
fine.
another one before Thanksgiving.
But
too.
anyway,
Don't
so
be missing that one.
motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn,
Second.
support.
Support.
Questions, none, call for the vote.
Aye.
Mr. Baxter, Ms. Sims, myself, yes, Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Armstrong,
Yes.
Ms. King.
Yes, sir.
136, Take care.
Did you want to keep these or no?
I got a copy. I have. Those are.
Others than you.